All right, everyone. So I'm back for a second recap. Although I don't have any. I didn't actually take any more trades. So thank God. Because usually when I come back for a second recap, it's because it's a I've done something terrible. I've made a terrible mistake. But I wanted to
One
go
of two
over
things.
the trades on HPX that I saw, and Danny's here with me. So many of you already recognize, I'm sure, Danny, because he's in the chat room every day and he's teaching classes. He's got a class he's taught. He's also doing mentor sessions. You're on Friday at, is it 11 or 12 right now?
Yep, 11 every Friday at
11
11.
a.m. Friday. He's doing weekly mentor sessions for Warrior Pro members. But you did get some trades on HPX.
I did.
So walk me through this one. And so HPX right now is up 238%. It must have been up at least 300%. What was the highest percentage that you saw on this thing? Let's see.
I don't, let me
Oh,
see. I wasn't,
347%.
yep.
347% on the scan right there. So, holy smokes.
Yeah, what a nice move. I mean, nice in terms of the range. In terms of price action, it was pretty difficult. These can be really hard to trade. I mean, you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 green candles in a row going halt to halt, just straight up pretty much,
Your
unless you're
audio,
already in it.
now that I hear you talking, your audio is breaking out just like a little bit. I don't know if it's, what are you using for your mic?
You test? It's just my built-in mic.
Huh, okay. All right, well, we'll see if it gets
How is
better.
it? How's that now?
It was just kind of like giving a little like weird feedback, but I don't know why.
I'll move my other computer over.
Okay.
Maybe that'll help. Yeah, let me know if it changes or it gets worse or better. I have another mic that I could switch computers and plug in.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was saying we had like 8 green candles in a row going straight up on HPX, just going halt to halt, and they can be
Yeah.
really hard to trade. They can be really hard to handle emotionally too, unless you're already in from like 14, 13 and scaling out,
Right.
where do you get an entry? So that move up was nice to see, but when that's happening, you kind of just have to let them go and
Hmm.
then let them tell you where they pull back to, and then let it set up past that if it's going to.
Now, if this was a lower price stock, I and I'm looking at the 10-second chart on it right now, and I'm not even seeing really very much of micro pullbacks. But on a usually on something like this, I would look at the 10-second chart for a micro pullback, and you can kind of see that there was one around 18, and then it went into the
Mhm.
halt up at 20 and 19-ish, and then it opened and kind of dipped down and was red, and then it came back up to 24 and halted up. And then there was maybe another small micro pullback, which would have been super risky at 33.65, goes into the halt up at
Mhm.
34. So like that one wouldn't have worked, but possibly, basically on resumption after that first halt at 1450 or 15, it opened, it dipped, and it ripped into a second halt. That would have been the only safe place that I probably would have considered it, because it's a dip and rip following the first halt. But yeah, I agree. I
Right.
mean, when these are going up back to back halts on light volume, and especially with these ones, when you start to get up to the $30 price range, at one point I was looking at it, even right now, the spread is 34 by 36. You've got 2 point spread.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now, I mean, if you press the buy button for 2,000 shares of this at 36, you're down 4 grand, instant, unrealized on the
Yeah.
bid. And if you try to hit the bid, I mean, you might be able to get filled 2,000 shares without a problem, but it's possible that you would get slippage and you'd end up losing 5 grand, another 50 cents of slippage on something like this. All
Mhm.
right. Well, so you watched it squeeze up, and where did you
Yeah.
take your
So
first trades?
I didn't take my trade until actually much later.
Okay.
And that pullback, that little micro pullback that you were talking about, I think is where Jess took his position at 17,
Oh, okay.
going into that
Okay.
halt up.
Yeah, that was a good spot.
Um, so yeah, it had that really weird halt resumption. It halted up go at 36, 33, and then it resumed lower, went straight into some halts down.
Yeah.
Once it curled back after that, so we had that candle halted up at 11:27.
Yep.
That was where I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting now. And yeah, you mentioned the spreads can be so choppy. Like I did not really have much of a cushion today to start with.
Yeah.
And so if I'm looking at getting in, I'm like, I have to understand if I get into this, there's a good chance I'll be down or I'll get in at the high.
Right.
And if I need to get out, it's not going to be good. So you really have to be careful with your share size on stuff like this. But we had this halt coming back up and it's curling. It's looking like it's going through levels at this point. And so I look at these types of moves as you might have some shorts who are in there from earlier. It would make a lot of sense for them to stop out over 35, 36.
Yeah.
That halt was a longer one. It actually opened at 14 minutes, which is odd.
Mhm.
These nicey stocks sometimes they just open at really odd intervals.
Yeah.
But it opened at 38.14. I saw the ask pop to 40
Hmm.
pretty much immediately. And I loaded up small size. I took a position, I sent a market order that actually filled me, or no, I filled an order just above the bid. I sent a hotkey order to fill just above the bid. I got in at 38.32 and I scaled out partial share size just under the ask as it pushed up.
Nice.
Yeah, so I was able to get about $2 a share out of that. And
Okay.
I was holding just really small partial share size as it was chopping around over 40, 42, 43,
Yeah.
looking for it to keep going into another halt and just keep holding.
Right.
I was basically like, I've taken most of my profit at this point. I'm trying to let it give me a reason to stop out.
Yeah.
And then it did. It shot down pretty quickly to 40. And I was like, I don't want to let this go down to my entry, get out flat. I'll just stop out now. And
Okay.
then we see it halt up again. And I'm like, I'm kind of
Mm.
frustrating, but I did the best I could with what I was seeing in real
Nice.
time.
Yeah. That's great.
So,
Yeah, so okay, so
uh,
that's a good
yeah,
trade. That's basically, I mean, that basically is a dip and rip on resumption from a halt
yeah,
up that gapped higher at a point where you may have seen some short covering and maybe some more longs get in because the dip and rip following resumption is a spot where a lot of people will jump in. So nice.
right.
And then as it sits right now, I mean, the fact is, it's not a bad looking pattern. Your 5 minute chart has a lot of green
Hmm.
candles, low volume red candles,
Yeah.
but it's expensive and you've got big spreads, right?
Yeah,
So how do you pull the
exactly.
trigger up here? And it's getting later into the day. This is gets in the spot where, we had Lunar, LUNR, last week that made this pretty epic move. So I think that some people are probably, thinking about that one as they watch the price action on this one. Although you have to remember what goes up does come back down, and Lunar did come back down dramatically.
A little
But
bit. Yeah.
it did, through the afternoon, it kept going. And it was sort of similar. High volume green candles, light volume red candles. It broke through, it goes 30, 40, 50, 60, then 80, then up to
Hmm.
85, then to 100, then to 110, 140. So, like, whoa, that
Yeah.
really pulled away. HHRS was another one the other day
Hmm.
that put in a big move. So I think you have some people that are probably keeping a really close eye on this just in case. But one of the things that I'm thinking about naturally is it's the first day of the month. I'm grateful
Hmm.
to be green. And, I don't mind taking a couple of high risk, high reward trades here and there. But, your first sort of order of business early in the month is to kind of start to build your cushion, build a little momentum. Because, like a stock like this, you could jump in it with 2,000 shares potentially. And all of a sudden, now listen, you could trade with 200 shares, but I, it, I know for myself that once I start getting dialed in on something, I
Hmm.
can start to get sucked in, and next thing you know, I'm punching bigger orders, and
Yep.
it
Really
could go,
quickly
it could
too.
go, yeah, it could go bad on something like this, and it's not.
That's something that I've had to pay attention to very closely lately. because we've had a lot of moves that have gone up and down, and I'm mostly just really considering like, do I want to start trading this? Because I know if I start trading it and kind of like break the seal and take the first trade, there's a good chance that I can get sucked into whatever price action and start going down a path that I really didn't mean to.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking the same thing. It was a really slow day until we had this move. I had really not much profit cushion. Now I'm sitting on a decent green day. It's the first day of the month. It's been slower. I
Hmm.
don't know why I would push it today.
Right. FOMO, the fear of missing
Right,
out, the fear of
exactly.
missing
Yeah,
that if
yeah.
it goes to 100, I'm going to be sitting on the sidelines. I mean, that would be that's the biggest driver. And I do feel, and by the way, your audio is still a little screwed up, so we'll figure out how to get it. It's like, it's so funny. It's almost, yeah, it's just like, does these little like buzz kind of sounds, like cuts you off, buzzes, and then
Interesting. I'm
resumes.
getting a little crackles from your side. I wonder if we just have not the best connection.
Maybe so. Um,
Hopefully it's workable.
yeah, but yeah, I think the video will be okay. But in any case, yeah, I think that I don't know what I was going to start to say, something maybe about FOMO, but
As an introvert, I've really honed that skill of the JOMO, the joy of missing out.
oh, really?
No, I mean, in terms of stocks, it's been something that's
Yeah,
been a hard skill to work on, as I'm sure you know.
yeah,
Um, but the thing for me is like, I know even Lunar moving to 136 or whatever it was last week, it wasn't really that clean or easy to trade. Uh,
totally.
it
Yeah.
would be just as easy to give profit back.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. And that is definitely true. That in hindsight, you can look at this and be like, "Whoa, I should have made
Yeah,
$10,000." But
yeah,
unless you were willing to punch orders with a really big spread, it probably wouldn't have happened. So, I excuse me. I think for me, I'm just content right now with knowing that there's a time of the day when I trade the best, and
hmm
that I have to focus on that time. And although it's awesome to see things that are, big moves, that when it's, I guess it's nice just in general to see that. If it's outside my window,
right.
that can cause problems for me. So I just have to stick with what I'm good at and not overstay welcome. And that means
Mhm.
today, I'm going to call it a day with what I'm at, where I'm at. And yeah, HPX, maybe it goes higher. Maybe it does go to 100. I hope it does. But,
Yeah, one thing that I've been doing really well this year is really just focusing on my strategy. And these types of moves are kind of they're definitely outside of my main strategy. What I do look at them for is this is a nice move that maybe can spark some more momentum
sure.
and some better moves. So that's really why I'm like, let's go to 100. I'm probably not going to trade it, but
Good
maybe
point.
it'll help out with other momentum in the market.
Yep. No, that could definitely happen. That could definitely happen. And I see that other stock that I had on watch, CDIO, popping up a little bit here on the scans.
Oh
This
yeah,
one was a
that
this
one
one
was
I
yesterday.
yeah, this one I had watched. I actually took a trade on it pre-market at 65 or around 60, and it failed. But yesterday's high was
Mhm.
4, although it
Yeah,
rejected off of 4 pretty hard. And
it did. Yeah.
again, though, this is the type of thing where the longer you sit in the chair, the more you see something like this, and you think, I could punch it here at 77. Next thing you know, it'll be at 87, 97. And it's easy to get optimistic and then get yourself into a couple of losses, which is why I just shut down my platform so I
Mhm.
don't fall into that trap. First day of the month, it's important to build a little bit of, a little bit of a track record first.
Yeah.
So, all
Yeah,
right,
I
well,
agree. I'll look at it for a little bit, but yeah, I got other stuff to do too.
yeah, same here. So, all right, well, we'll figure out the audio issues and try to get that tuned up for the next episode. But I hope you guys enjoy this. Hopefully, you found this interesting and maybe you had some good trades today. So, feel free to share those with us down in the comments, and we'll see you for the next episode real soon. A reminder, as always, that trading is risky. Our results aren't typical, and there's no guarantee you'll find success whether you trade on your own. You'll learn from me. So, take it slow, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.